That's instant, man. Yep.
Just like that.
Circle and a snap.
So, Circle and a Snap. What is that from?
Well, you don't watch it, but in living color.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. All right, I've heard that. I've heard of that, but I didn't really know what it is. Now I do. Now
Yes, you do.
And so does the Spectre.
The Spectre. So it shows you how much I know or don't know.
This guy's very not well known. He's old school, glows in the dark. Very he's a ghost. He's a dead superhero. And he just floats around like messing with people. It's good. It's good. Like trying to give. Yeah, it's kind of a vengeful ghost, vengeful superhero ghost. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about zero factors. So
Okay.
So we're talking about what's stopping the growth, what's stopping the momentum of your business. But what do you mean by zero factor? What is that all about?
What is that all about?
What is that all about?
What I mean by zero factor is like anything multiplied by zero equals zero. And it's been my observation that whatever you might be working on, there usually is some core zero factor that you can tie it back to, whether it's in building a business or whatever, that if you don't fix that, then everything else that you do on top of it or different to try to solve for the problem isn't going to work anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sup, whoever's saying sup.
Zero.
And it's been my observation from
Sorry about that. Had a little feedback loop going on. It's John Romello
John over in Art of Email Marketing.
John
So,
Romello.
yeah, so here's the easiest way that I can describe the zero factor I like to give like examples. Like, have you ever painted over rust? You know, like if you take this and you just take some great old Rust-Oleum spray paint here and you shake it up and you paint on it. Do you know what happens? I used to have to paint dumpsters and fire escapes when I was in trade school. And it was one of the ones that I hated the most because if you didn't scrape all the rust off properly, you'd be doing the same thing. You'd be painting it all over again in like the next month or so. And so you got to scrape it down. And to me, that's what the zero factor is, right? Like if you don't scrape down the rust, it doesn't matter how great the spray paint is that you're putting on. It doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't matter how good you are at spray painting on top of it, or, you know, and what you can make it do. Eventually that rust is going to eat its way back to the surface. And because you've given it a nice, you know, home to kind of eat your way at. So like if you're comparing it to building an online business and a following and creating that, then it's the same thing. There's always a zero factor. And here's the part that I think people miss. It's that the zero factor changes as your business changes, as you graduate from the different stages of business. As you go from rainmaker, there's a different zero factor being a rainmaker. And then as you get into becoming a growth duplicator, well, then there's a certain zero factor, and it's different than the other one, right? Than the rainmaker. And then the final one, when you become a system fixer, well, then that has a different zero factor altogether. And if you don't understand that and you don't adjust, then you're fixing the wrong problem and it's still zeroing out your results. Mm-hmm. Thanks, man, or woman, dude or dudette, whoever said nice analogy. You know, so and it works. Frankly, it works the same thing with building an engaged online following, right? I mean, like there's a zero factor, like the 7 stages of the A to A process. If you don't handle one of the early stages, then trying to sell forget about it. That's why it's so expensive to make that first sale. If you don't build relationship earlier on, and each stage of the 7 levels of building a trusted advisor type relationship, each of those stages end up being dependent on the last one, right?
So,
And go ahead.
well, let me ask you about this. So we got the ADA process, the asshole to advisor process, right? And as this relationship unfolds, how easy or difficult would it be for you to walk through those stages for like a local business owner of some sort?
Super
And
easy.
paint that picture first,
Yeah.
and then to kind of paint the same picture for, say, an internet marketing guru or a e-com store owner or something
Sure.
like that. By the way,
So,
shout out to Gene. Hey, Gene, good to
what's
see
up,
you.
Gene?
And the person who said nice analogy, Josh, was Scott Gallagher. Good morning, Scott. Good to see you
Scott,
again.
what's up?
And we also got Chad Nicely on the line. What's up,
Chad, what's happening?
Cool. All right. So yeah, maybe could you walk us through with, like, I don't know, a dentist? No, we've already used dentist. Let's do something different. Let's do.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I lay it out, and then we can both talk about how it applies to a local business.
Great.
So basically, it's just the process of building relationship, right? Of going from complete stranger, and it's all about the conversations that are going on inside the head of that stranger and what they're telling themselves, that narrative that you're entering into. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do is that they assume that what you're already thinking is that they already know everything about you. They're already engaged. They're already, and they don't enter the conversation that they're mentally having with themselves about you, the narrative that they have about you. And so what the ADA process is, the way that I've laid it out, is the mental themes narrative of going from that complete stranger to trusted advisor, the Oprah effect, so to speak, and doing it in a deliberate fashion. So in the case of the reason why I start with level 1 being you're an asshole is because it's visceral. And I don't mean the customer's an asshole. I mean, they are thinking of us as an asshole, right? Like, get away from me, and their whole thought in that process is, you're taking up my time. And, I can't even stop to listen to you right now because you're danger, Will Robinson, danger. You know what I mean? And so the way that this would apply in, say, a local business, let's say somebody walks into the store for the first time, doesn't know where anything is, and the salesperson comes right up and says, what can I get you today? You really want to buy this, right? And all this, the stranger is going, screw this, like I'm out. And so they push back on that. And the reason why I like using the word you're an asshole is because it is visceral. And it's important to remember, like, if you're designing a process that's going to take somebody from complete stranger, and you need to enter that conversation of the complete stranger and then over time graduate them through or lead them to different conversations, different themes of the conversation, then it's useful. Now, not everybody is going to be coming in thinking that, but it's useful to start there because it puts you in a different frame of reference when you're starting to think about how to do the marketing, right? So, it's super easy, frankly, to go from level 1, you're an asshole, which is a fear-based conversation. They're fearful. They just want to shut it down. And whatever the topic is, it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't know you. I don't trust you. I don't have any kind of, relationship with you. And my job is to get out of your sphere of influence.
And I just want to point out that it sounds aggressive, right?
Right.
But and sometimes people might feel aggressively toward you. But the reality is, these people have plenty of other stuff to worry about in their lives other than you, right? They're dealing with feeding their kids. They're dancing between phone calls and text messages. They've got their job. They've got their new homeschooling process they have to deal with their kids now that their kids can't go to school anymore.
Right.
they're stressed. They're trying to pay the bills. They're trying to apply for unemployment. They have to pay their taxes. None of it's working. And so, like, when you're stressed like this, distractions often aren't pleasurable for people, right? It's just one more thing that's pissing them off. And so I totally agree on the asshole part. It's just important to remember that people just have other lives that don't have anything to do.
Right. And again, it's just so that it puts you, because I believe that most business owners and freelancers, they don't think about it like that. They start off thinking like the person is going to be thinking, where have you been all my life? I've been waiting for you to come along and tell me about your great stuff.
Right.
And they just simply aren't.
Right.
And the reason why, like, the most expensive product sale, the most expensive purchase that, the customer purchase that ever is that first purchase. Yeah. And the reason is that they've got to go through a mental journey, and there's literally 5 levels of mental themed relationships, each one building on the next, each one having its different zero factor to move to the next level. And it's up to the other person to decide when they choose to elevate you. Right? When they choose to move up, because you can't force them to. Right. And so if it takes all the way to a level 5 conversation before somebody purchases the first time, sometimes depending on who that person is, depending on where they're coming in from, depending on, just what their belief systems hold, they move through that rapidly, and they never ever really think of you as an asshole. But it's useful still, I believe, to think about these when you're starting to mold a process, because if you can do that, to take somebody that's mentally thinking about you as an asshole, and you can move them strategically through a process that builds relationship with them and turns them into becoming your Oprah, where you become their Oprah effect, and you can do it deliberately. Well, now you have a system that will work with paid advertising and will be consistent, that you can control the tap and dial it up and dial it down. Mm-hmm. So the next, really the zero factor at this point is to enter somebody's sphere of influence or their space without pissing them off, right? So it's just like to become familiar to them. So like we're doing with these live streams, right? Where we're showing up in the newsfeed, those people, they see us again and again. It's a low pressure thing. And hopefully, they see some insights and maybe they stick around and they see us, and it's up to them to move forward or not. Then the next stage.
Joshua, for some reason, you appear to be frozen for me. I am going to disconnect you, and hopefully you can hear me. You still appear to be frozen. So why don't you try disconnecting and then coming back in? I think your stream may have gotten a little bumpy there, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the live streams myself right now to see where things are at. Yeah, it looks like you got frozen on the video too, so it's not on my end. All right, cool. So yeah, as soon as you're ready, just reset and come on back in. I'm sure it will be good to go. So I'm not going to do a very good job of picking up right in the middle of this process. The Asshole to Advisor process is absolutely Joshua's baby, and he's done some really, really, really great stuff defining it and redefining it over the years, and actually has put together this super cool thing I want to, where you can learn more about it. And we did give out the link to it yesterday, and a bunch of people went and checked it out. So you can learn, if you're interested in learning how to create an Asshole to Advisor process, how to bring your new prospects, the new people who are just joining your list for the first time, hearing about you, seeing what you've got going on. Joshua, if you can hear me and you can prepare that link and get it ready, that would be great. And I have you on here now, and you appear to be good to go.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? And I'm sorry about that. I think that was on my end.
Yeah, it's okay. These things happen. So I was just telling people a little bit about the Asshole to Advisor process link and the report that you put together. If you can...
where do you want it?
Why don't you just give that link to me in Messenger, and then I will go and push it out while you continue to talk about the
Messenger being Facebook Messenger, or can I give it to you over text?
yeah, text is fine. Yeah. Sorry, all these forms of communication are getting blurry. Sooner or later, they'll like come back down to one again, I hope. But man,
Yeah.
like so many channels to connect with people. It's really weird. All right, so are you able to pick up where you left off?
Sure.
Going through the process.
Provided I'm not frozen. Yeah.
You are currently thawed.
Thawed. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, like once you enter their sphere of influence in their space without them being defensive, then they just breed a little bit of familiarity. And if you compare it to like the dog whisperer, he talked about, Cesar Millan talked about when you introduce yourself to a dog, no touch, no talk, no eye contact. And so all you're trying to do is let them become comfortable around you. And then they automatically become more at ease. And they almost always automatically elevate to the next level of conversation, which is you're a pest. Softer, but a pest. And the job of the pest is now you're interrupting me, but there's something here and I want to, just let's back off. And then the next one is still a fear-based conversation that they're having, but you're on probation, which is like, hey, you said something that intrigued me, but I really don't trust you. I don't, like I'm on guard. And really what I'm saying to you is that hurry up and confirm what I truly believe about you so that I can go back to thinking about you as a pest or as an a-hole. So that I can justify my decision already. Then the next one is, hey, you're like me, like we're similar people. And, this is where people also screw up, right? Where they think that the steps to a sale is, well, in order to make a sale, they've got to know, like, and trust you. Well, yeah, but there's a fourth element there, know, like, and trust, but there's another one vital to it. And so like the comparison that I always like to talk about is that the you're like me concept is it opens people up to be, yeah, like I thought the same way and I feel the same way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to follow your recommendations yet. But I'm open to hearing more. I'm open to the communication of, expanding and seeing where it goes from here type thing. Right. So the thing to keep track of is the fifth stage, which is you're an authority. And like when you're in a bar, you might like somebody a lot and they're sitting next to you and who's got the worst war story and everything, but you don't necessarily are going to take their advice when it comes to, investments or when it comes to marketing. I mean, you may or you may not, but because you know them and you trust them to a degree, you're at least going to be open to hearing more. And that opens up the door to the fifth level conversation, which is you're an authority. And that's where the respect-based mentality comes in. So there's a likability, a trust-based, know, like, and trust you at level 3 or level 4 when they start to know you. And then it moves into a respect-based conversation. And that's the point where you can actually influence them to make a purchase from you, to take advantage of an offer, whether that's a monetary offer or a opt-in lead process. They have to elevate themselves at least to in that category, to fully grasp it, right?
I want to try something.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're going to try something wicked funny. Hopefully it'll work. If you want a link to the asshole to advisor process so you can learn more about this stuff, I want you to type asshole into the comments. Just type asshole into the comments and shoot me a private message, or Joshua if you're watching this on one of his streams, and we'll shoot you a link. So just type asshole, ideally in all capital letters, in the comments.
Or if it's like Sunshine Slater, if it's really against your thing, I suppose you could do a-hole, right?
That's right. Yeah. If you,
Wilson Smith, thank you.
You can come up with something creative if you have spiritual or religious challenges around this. We got our first asshole, Wilson Smith. We got our second asshole. This is so
sweet.
Assholes all over the place. This is I was hoping this would work, and it's totally going to work.
Awesome.
This is good. This is called the asshole technique.
And it's not about you. It's about you telling us that we're assholes, and we're moving through the process.
We're not even saying that we're assholes. We're saying just the way you
building relationship. Yeah,
it's just the asshole. There's a whole new meaning to talking out your ass.
Yeah, right.
This is very, very funny. What a funny experience. Okay, cool. So
Kimberly Sunshine Perry just gave a wow face.
That's right. That's what happened.
Rodrigo typed in the group. I don't know if there's a delay getting into Restream, but I'm trying to look at all the places that we're streaming right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Well, we're just going to see how many assholes we can accumulate in one place, and it'll be great. So we'll send you guys. I'll send you guys links right now. So it's so funny, so funny. Oh,
Gene said it.
Yeah. It's so good. All right, so here we go. All right, so tell us more. Tell us more, Joshua.
All right, so when you think about it logically, look at how much work has to go into taking somebody from a level 1 conversation, the first A, all the way up to the second A of the A to A process, which is authority, which is only the 5th one. It's not the final A either, because there's 2 more additional levels. But that's why the first sale is the most expensive, because some people move through the process quickly and some people don't. And it depends. That's why we've gotten spoiled online. Because think about this. Anytime there's a product launch or an affiliate promotion, there's the halo effect, right? Where you're already got some relationship and some trust and probably some respect with somebody else's list that you're on, right? And when Telman says, hey, you got to go check out Joshua's stuff, then because he's already gone through at least the first 5 levels with you, and there's some authority where there's some respect for what he's sharing with you, then I can borrow that immediately, and you come in at a level 5 conversation. That's why it's so simple to sell on a launch or on an affiliate type comparison, right? Mm-hmm. And it's where we get spoiled in the internet, why we always want to have referrals and we always want to do joint ventures and all of this. But there's a limit to what that can do. And if you don't have a process that can take somebody from complete stranger, systematically move them through and build that relationship, and therefore the desire and the want for what you have, then you look at it. So we're at a level 5, and look, that's where the actual money will begin to change hands, where they'll be willing to be influenced enough by you. And look at where that went. Now, to get to the Oprah-like effect where you become their Oprah, there's only 2 more levels. There's the leadership, you're my leader, and that's the first level of influence, if you will, true influence, where it combines the respect factor and the trust factor and all of that, and the authority, and they're looking to you for leadership and guidance. And then the next one, and the final one, is you're my trusted advisor. In other words, I'm not going to make a move almost on any subject, frankly. Like you think about Oprah. When she was on the air 5 days a week, she had 25 million people that thought of her as like their trusted advisor, best friend. And they wouldn't make a move unless she, gave her stamp of approval. And it didn't matter what it was on, but because she did it, boom, it becomes, like going to the doctor. You don't argue with them on that, on the prescription, if you truly have them, in that category of sphere of influence, right? Uh-huh. So, did I do enough there, or? I mean, it's actually fairly easy to go from that first sale in the authority phase, and over time, and again, it belongs to the the client or customer or the other person to elevate their mental conversation themes about you. You can't force them to.
Mhm.
All you can do is lead them and guide them, but they must decide to elevate you in their way of thinking, their framework, right?
Mhm.
So that's another thing. Like, you can't force somebody to do that. So the process of making that go is an interesting one. And basically, you have to not screw up. Follow through, manage expectations, make sure that you're delivering what you promised to them on that first interaction with them, and making sure that you're not over promising and under delivering, making sure that you can actually wow them and go the opposite way. And if something happens, that there's a breakdown and a mistake happens, which always happens in business, there's no way around it. Like with one of my favorite ones to talk about is Steve Jobs, and one of the releases, I think it was maybe iPhone 4 or something, they had quote unquote, maybe it was iPhone 3, I don't remember, but they had quote unquote antenna gate, because they when they gripped it too hard, the signal went way down, but it was like some sort of conspiracy that went around the internet, and they started calling it antenna gate. And when he was releasing the next go round of it, he opened up the I mean, it's a great example of his presentation when he was doing a news conference, and he talked about it. But somebody actually made a video that was hilarious about it. It was a musical video, and like, if you about this antenna gate, and he actually played that. And then so he acknowledged it, and he said, here's why it happened. Here's what's going on. It really isn't a problem, but we recognize that we need to do something about this. So we were going to sell these cases. We're going to give them away to you for free as fast as we can manufacture them. So he made it right. And in the process, his raving fans, those zealots, the Apple zealots, became even more endeared to him because of the way that he handled it. And they became even more influenced by him.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's the that's the long and the short of it. In not really the short of it.
That's great. That's
And
great.
so each one of those has a different zero factor, basically.
Mhm.
And it's all about, frankly, designing a process, and that's really what we're doing with NPOD, right? With the consulting program that we're doing, is we're showing people how to customize this process for themselves and how to deploy it based upon their needs, and to do it in a way that it's scalable, that it becomes a true business asset that can grow and to become an evergreen type approach.
A business asset, not to be confused with a business asshole.
Right.
So
A lot of A's around here.
for anybody that's wondering about the barrage of assholes in the comments, but we should probably explain ourselves. You just joined us. So we're talking about Joshua's A to A process, which stands for the asshole to advisor process. When people first enter your world and experience you and your business for the first time, how they feel about that, and how to move them from that skeptical, I don't really want to hear from you, please stop bothering me kind of state to,
Yep.
Oh, wow, I absolutely not only want to do business with you, but look to you for advice in not just one, but possibly multiple areas of my life, right? Pretty powerful stuff. And you created a whole report on this called the Asshole to Advisor report. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's basic. I think it's kind of cool on two levels, right? Because one, it's going to give you the knowledge and the insights necessary to actually see exactly what I'm talking about here, and to spell it out, and takes you through the whole process. But the process itself is a case study of doing it. It's one of the methods that I'm deploying for us, and to serve people, and to so in and of itself, while I'm teaching it, it is actually something that you can look at and model and see how I'm doing it, the processes and how it builds relationship over time and how it hopefully doesn't assume anything. And so that you can engage with it on, both levels, to learn the insights necessary, but also then to see those insights in a case study being demonstrated live and in living color, and see if you're not feeling different about me and Telman by the end of the process. To see if you haven't shifted. Maybe you don't go all the way to advisor. Maybe you don't even go all the way to authority or leader, but you're somewhere in there. You've improved. Otherwise, you wouldn't have, stayed with the process and been engaged with it the way it was. You're somewhere in the journey, and it's up to you to decide how fast you want to move through it.
And hopefully we're going to move you really fast through the asshole process. So
with us personally, you mean?
Right,
yeah.
Right. So if you guys actually want a link to the asshole to advisor process to learn more about this, then literally type the word asshole. Now, if you do it in all caps, you will absolutely get extra credit. Type the word asshole in all caps. Exclamation points also give you extra credit, or other creative ways that you can type in asshole that we might not have mentioned also can give you extra credit. So, please go ahead and type asshole into the comments and shoot us a private message to make sure that we see it. And I will go ahead and drop you a link to where you can go and check that out. So really good to see all of you right now. And what would you say? Are there any particular incidences or stories or examples that are kind of just interesting that you can tell about a business that you know of personally that's used this process?
Well, every business uses this process to a greater or lesser degree. The problem is that almost every business that isn't focused on this is having it happen accidentally. And so what ends up happening is that, we've heard the term hyper-responsive. This is a way that you build hyper-responsiveness into your customer base intentionally, by design, rather than letting it unfold by default. Now, if you don't do anything like this and design it into your process, your hyper-responsives, those people that drink the Kool-Aid, those people that love everything that you do, and they say, here's my credit card, just put it on file, and anytime you come up with something new, I want it, I'm in, let's do this, let's rock. And so naturally what ends up happening during this process is that about 4 to 5% of your client base ends up becoming a hyper-responsive purchaser and loving what you do if you do nothing else at all. So what that means is that if you get 100 new first-time buyers that do business with you for the first time, 4 to 5 of them will naturally fall within that hyper-responsive, where they'll spend a whole lot more money with you a lot quicker and on different things, because they like what you're about, and they will tend, if you don't screw them, and they'll tend to stay with you. However, what is possible is when you hear about people like Andre Chaperone or Telman or myself or anybody that gets really incredible response rates when they send an email, and they don't just get like a 2% conversion rate, but they get like the earnings per click are off the charts. The craziness of it's like $25 earnings per click, or they get, they send out to a 200 person sub list, and they make, $30,000 or $40,000 from that, 200 those types of conversions. Well, there's ways, and that's what this A to A process is all about, of converting more of the 4 to 5% that falls naturally into that hyper-responsive state into consistently 25, 35, 40, 50. I've had it be as high as 60% rates, where the actual act of purchasing, whether any interaction with you, increases their love and respect and engagement with you. Mm-hmm. And so really, I mean, it's every business leverages this. This is not something that's just indicative of internet marketers or direct response marketers, or although we tend to be much more scientific about it, much more aggressive about it in how we do it. But it literally applies because, again, this is just the process of building relationship using a systematic approach in our case.
That's the trick that I think eludes most people. So
yeah.
I want you guys to think about, first of all, just your personal relationships and the way in which, and we all have, some are really good at forming personal relationships, some are really bad, right? Some people are really good at forming relationships, but not necessarily maintaining relationships or friendships. And others are great at maintaining them, but they suck at forming it. And some people have tons of friends, and some people have very few. But whatever it is, the way that you build and form relationships, just think about the way that works over time. And again, I'm using the word relationship to include friendships, to include relationships with coworkers, employers, whatever.
Romance.
Right. Of course, romance. Absolutely. But relationships in general. And it's a moving target, right? Everybody's a little different. The way you interact with everybody is a little different, and it evolves over time. Hopefully, as you learn more about them, you get better at interacting with them in ways that they enjoy, and vice versa, right? That's kind of the idea. And
Kyle Battis, by the way, says, "Yo, what's up, Kyle?"
Hey, Kyle. Kyle and I were talking yesterday, and the interesting thing that happens is you kind of have to play it a little bit differently, or whether it's conscious or unconscious, the way that your relationship with everybody unfolds is a little bit different each time. But what happens is there are certain patterns in terms of how you personally try to form relationships with new people, right? Do you say nice? Do you give them compliments? Do you ask them if they want to hang out? Do you give them gifts? Do you just spend time with them? What do you do? And so when you create an automated process, especially the first time, it can feel a little bit weird, especially when you're talking about creating an automated process to build a relationship for your business. Because a business relationship is significantly different in some key ways than a personal relationship. Right. So when we say in an automated way, the simplest way to think about this is an automated email sequence. Okay. Correct. Just an autoresponder sequence. There are obviously other ways to automate communications now, whether it's through chatbots, whether it's through automated text messages, whether it's through what you were looking at the other day, just with units inside of a Facebook group for delivering sequenced content, whether it's dripped content in a course, like a Kajabi course with a dripped content function. They're all options. But
Chad Nicely has one of those, by the way. Everlesson. Great
cool.
unfolding process. Anyway, sorry. I just remembered you said hi to Chad in the beginning. And,
so the idea here is that there are lots of different ways you can systemize the process. It could be a series of videos that they watch. It could be, a series of web pages and a series of emails. I mean, whatever it is, but it's a sequenced process of communication. What are some types of communications for the types of people that are following us? Email marketers, direct response marketers in a variety of niches. What are some types of emails or types of communications that they can work into their sequences that help to bond that connection?
Well, we're doing it right now. Live streams, Facebook groups could be a deeper level. The live streams is a great way to connect, and it's awesome right now. And we're able to syndicate across multiple platforms at the same time. And it's pretty amazing to think about that as part of your process. Basically, it's about having a systematic approach and a design, designed into your process that really truly meets people where they're at and allows them to move as fast as they want to move, through that journey on themselves. So, live streams, yes. Groups, yes. Having subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yes. Moving them from YouTube channel, from the groups, from the live streams into your email list, in my opinion, is not even an option. It's a must. The only thing that is optional is when they move over there. Like, some people are ready to move very quickly and some people aren't. And you want them to be communicating and being able to build that relationship wherever they're most comfortable until they say, yes, I'm now ready to, join your list, to be a part of, to deepen that relationship. And I believe it's really critical on a number of levels. One, it deepens the relationship. Anytime you can move somebody, let's say, for example, you use the model where you do a live stream and you invite them to your list. Kind of similar to what we're doing right now, right?
That's
where
right.
we're giving them great value and taking them to the case study, which, by the way, it's not a forced opt-in that you don't get to see anything prior to it. There's 3 elements, 3 web pages part of the process before it even moves to an opt-in, where if you're not interested in it, you're not going to proceed further. And if you are interested in it, you're going to get value from proceeding further. And so the opt-in then is just a deepening of that communication chain, right? And so we're now moving them from email or from the Facebook over to a website that we control, and then over into email. And then from the email, we're going to be moving them back at certain points into Facebook groups. And anytime you can zigzag them back and change communication mediums, the perceived bond that they have with you, that perceived relationship, gets deeper just by the crisscrossing back and forth between different communication mediums. And so you can really start to move through rapidly by tic-tacking, so to speak, between your live streams into your websites with different articles or videos on your YouTube channel or whatever, and you're moving them through different mediums. Even if the same content is available on your Facebook profile or in a Facebook group, certain people behave differently, even though they might be friends with you on both and parts of your circle in both areas. They will behave differently in different platforms, right? And so the more that you can move them back and forth between different communication mediums, the deeper they feel with that communication and that relationship and that bond then unfolds.
Yeah, it's like when you're out and about and you bump into the same person 3 different times throughout the day when you're doing errands or whatever, and it seems like randomly, but you're just on the same track or on the same path.
Well, and it's like what the power of the product launch, when everybody is promoting it, you see it everywhere, and everybody and their mother is emailing about it and promoting it, and it's the hot thing on the block. So everywhere you go, it's permeated. And the people that know how to do retargeting and that are literally everywhere you go, you see it again and again and again and again.
That's right.
So it's the same thing here, but you're doing it by design. And unlike the launch process, it's not a one and done situation. It's an ongoing, scalable asset that you can truly control the dial on your business.
Yeah. Very, very cool stuff. So we were talking about live streaming and how you can use live streaming as a way of connecting with your audience. And one of the best parts about live streaming with the way it works right now, and every platform's a little different, we're live streaming primarily on Facebook. We're simultaneously live streaming on YouTube. There are about 30 other channels that we're going to be adding on here in the next couple weeks or a couple months, I suspect.
And we should point out that we're live streaming on multiple Facebook channels. Like I'm on my personal profile. Tillman's on his personal profile. We're in the Art of Email Marketing group. And we're on each of our YouTube channels simultaneously. So we're getting the exposure and we're getting reach and able to build relationship in multiple lines in the water, so to speak.
The other thing is that you can see us actively interacting in real time on these videos with you guys. And so, for example, when you talked about live streaming, I noticed that Lisa, I think it's Kunachik is the way you pronounce your last name, jumped on, and she is the woman that does the breast enlargement stuff. You might remember from
right. Yeah.
And she's been cooking. She's been live streaming every day. She joined 99 Days, and she's been live streaming every day for at least like 40 or some odd days. I think she doesn't even know what day she's on, which is great. And she's just been going for it. So Lisa, what she says, I asked her what day is she on? She said, no idea. Decided to just do it every day. It's so awesome. I'm curious, why? Why did you decide to do it every day, and what have you gotten out of it, either personally or business-wise, starting to live stream every day? So while Lisa is hopefully she's answering that question, the interesting thing here is, okay, so guys, we created this group called 99 Days, free Facebook group you can join, and it encourages you and teaches you how to start doing one activity every day for 99 days to improve your life or your business. And so if there's an area of your life or an area of your business you want to improve on, which most of us have, I would think, then this gives you a structure and a community to do it, and it's free. And so what we found is, and I learned this, and I think, Joshua, I think you learned this too through Joe Polish. I'm sure he learned it from someone else, which is the idea that everything which is tracked improves. So when you do something and you track it, you keep track of your progress, that it's going to make it improve because you're giving it mind share, you're giving it conscious awareness, you're putting conscious effort and energy into improving your results when you practice. And then everything tracked and reported on improves exponentially.
For sure.
Okay. And even more importantly, everything tracked and reported on publicly, which makes it even more real. So
accountability, baby.
So we took this idea and we wrapped it up into one Facebook group, and it's working really, really, really well. Lisa's one of our users. And so what you do is most people are choosing to live stream every day as their media, as the way of tracking and recording and reporting on their daily live stream or their daily thing. And the daily thing for a lot of people is, I'm going to do a live stream for my market, promoting my business, for my niche, and adding value and promoting my business so I can grow my email list and make more money and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And so we've had, let's see, who's done a really great job. So Lisa has been going for, I don't know, a few months.
Jacqueline
has been kicking, like rocking it, by the way. Jacqueline, our spoon bending queen, she runs PK parties, which are psychokinesis parties where you learn how to bend silverware.
And I've been seeing her everywhere in my feed. Every time I log on, and granted it's not as often as most people, but every time I log on, I see Jacqueline in every time. Talk about, permeation. She's reaching me for sure.
Have you noticed how the quality of her videos in the last few days, how she looks
awesome.
better, the set is better, the sound is better, everything is better.
Yep.
Right. So Jacqueline, if you're watching, kudos, you're doing a great job. And she blew past the 99 days numbers, now in the hundreds and going strong.
It's become a habit, a habitual habit.
That's right. Simon Headley was doing it on YouTube, and hopefully he's switching over to Facebook. I really think Facebook, for a lot of people that are starting out, it seems you can get a lot more traction with live streaming so far.
Well, it's a different dynamic, right?
It's
a different ecosystem.
That's right.
I don't think one's better than the other, but you've got to understand the differences of the nuances between the two. I mean, right now I'm doing this because we can, right? I'm streaming it on YouTube, and I don't have many subscribers. I haven't focused in on building my subscriber base on YouTube yet. But I want the content there so that it can get indexed, so that they can create the transcripts of it, so that, for the closed captioning. And over time, I'll have a running total of great stuff that people can look through when they go to that thing, over time.
That's right. So I think this is Lisa replying, saying, I've seen greater connections with my actual friends, which is pretty cool. I've actually seen that too. I've seen a lot of people that are friends and colleagues from the business, because I'm broadcasting about business stuff most of the time. Most of my personal local friends don't give a crap about email marketing. But most of my business colleagues and friends that I've made over the last 17 years do. And so I've seen a lot of friends in business reach back out to reconnect as a direct result of these videos. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about Kyle Battis. Kyle Battis is a good friend of mine. We grew up together. He worked with me in our company for many years. And we were going to hang out a little bit before COVID hit, and then that got flushed down the toilet. So he had been seeing the live streams, and we had a phone call yesterday for the first time in several months, probably prompted by the live streams, right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Have you seen any growth in your business? I'm very curious. Any growth in your business? So if you guys are interested in jump-starting not only a new traffic source for your business, what's up?
Sunshine, you just sent me you sent me a little bit ago an awesome story, but I don't know whether, because you sent it via private message, whether you want me to share it publicly or not.
I would assume not.
Yeah, if you do, let me know. Otherwise, message received. That's awesome. That's a hilarious story.
That's right. I have no idea what I was saying.
Sorry.
You better be sorry.
I am. Sorry.
No, you're not.
Sorry, will. Not sorry.
That's right.
Me and what's her face?
Tractatron 2000. It's almost noon. We probably need to wrap this up anyway. Oh, what I was
go ahead and share it.
99 days. So if you guys are
Sunshine just said go ahead and share it. So do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it. And then we'll we'll talk to people in a minute about 99 days, and we'll remind you to type asshole into the comments if you're wondering something really cool will happen. So go ahead and do that. All right, what do you got, Joshua?
So Kimberly says, my famous ass story. When overseas telemarketers call, I make them work really hard for their money. I gave one poor guy such a runaround one evening that he couldn't contain his frustration and ended up calling me a smartass. Without missing a beat, my response was, why, thank you. Do you know why my ass is so smart? I've had to take out a separate insurance policy on it. He hung up. Mission accomplished.
So funny.
Hilarious. Thank you for that. But I mean, that shows you the difference of, the story that Sunshine had running in her mind and the theme that she had was not a match. And he certainly wasn't doing any kind of a good job, entering the conversation that she was having in the way that she was having it so that she wouldn't, rebel and want to, give him a hard time and make him work like he did. If he did a better job of entering the conversation where she was, then she may have been open. You can't say for sure, but she may have been open to shifting the conversation mentally, the theme to a different level, to a different opening. But all you can do is, for sure if you don't enter the conversation where they're at, then they're likely to kick you out mentally, even if they're nodding and saying yes and whatever. They're just going through the paces, but mentally they've already kicked you to the curb.
It's true. So we don't want that to happen. How can you? So one of the cool things about live streaming on a regular basis is that if you haven't created the system, the Asshole to Advisor process yet, and you're thinking about how to do that, get several dozen videos under your belt at least, and then guess what's going to happen? Some of them are going to be winners, and the ones where you either do a great teaching job of something or where you get a ton of likes, a ton of comments, a ton of shares. Those are great videos to weave into your sequence to continue to build that bond, because people are getting value out of that and they're responding publicly about it as well. And so that's one of the pieces, and doing videos on a regular basis is one of the ways that you can continue to organically create bond connection. But that's a little bit different than the automated part, right? Mm-hmm. And when you really think about going through the process of developing that relationship in an automated way, it's really a systematic way, right? It's really amazing what ends up happening is People often know that they're being fed emails, videos, otherwise in a systematic way, but that doesn't.
They love it.
It makes it a little bit less emotionally impactful, but not if you do it well. It has a. It doesn't feel robotic to them if you do it well, because the only reason it seems robotic to you is because you're building the system. Right? They're only getting to see it from the outside, but you're building it from the inside. Right?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's easy to forget.
So if the idea of getting on camera on a daily basis doesn't completely freak you out, actually, if it does completely freak you out, you should probably type 99 days into the comments right now. Honestly, the more freaked out you are, the better it would probably be for you, frankly. And
as Sunshine can probably attest.
As a matter of fact, Sunshine and Gene, if you're still here, or anyone else that's taking part in the 99 days process. What are your words of wisdom, or what are the biggest things you've gotten out of starting to live stream on a continual basis, either personally or business wise, as you've started really making that happen? It would be great to hear. So if that sounds interesting to you, it's totally free. It's a free resource. We put it together and it's called 99 Days. What you need to do is type 99 days, hashtag 99 days into the comments, and shoot me a private message, and I will send you an invitation to the 99 Days group, and you can get started on your 99 Days challenge right away. Even if you don't know exactly what it is you're going to start doing the 99 Days videos for yet, you'll figure it out in very short order. So really looking forward to seeing you on the inside. If that's interesting, type 99 Days. And for those of you who are jumping in at the end wondering about what's going on with all the assholes, Joshua has written an absolutely amazing report called the Asshole to Advisor Process, and you can go and read all about it if you are interested in learning how to bring new prospects into your business and have them be happy to be there and want to hear more from you. This will teach you exactly how to do it and how to think about it. Just type asshole in the comments below and send me a private message. I'll send you a link to where you can go check it out. What do you got there, Joshua?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to, for the people that were joining us late, we talked about the zero factor, and this was the analogy so that, it ties directly into the 8AA process, because each level has a different thing that will prevent you from moving forward, and it changes based upon the different levels. But basically the analogy is when you paint over rust without getting down to the bare metal and without scraping it off, it ends up, no matter how good the paint is, no matter how fancy you are at painting over it, it always bubbles back to the surface, and you've got it festering away from the inside out, and you might not even know it. So that's the part, that ties it back into the title of this training today of, what zero factor is, killing the momentum and growth of your business or practice today. And the reason why we believe that it's not what you think it is because it shifts. And if you don't address it, then you may have figured it out early on, or you may have figured out one that's downstream that you're not even at yet, that isn't a zero factor for you yet. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important to understand the journey, and if you apply it to the customer journey, to the relationship building journey, why somebody is going to do business with you on any capacity or be referred to other people's products and services based upon your recommendations, the zero factor plays an important role there, and understanding how you can shift those, different things and solve the right zero factor at the right time.
That's right. Awesome. Well, good seeing you all on this Friday. I hope you have a great weekend coming up, and that things just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, boy.
All right.
It's all sorts. Kimberly said it's all sorts of freak me out fun, talking about the live streaming.
Nice. Very cool. All right, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Over and out.